Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy and let me move my microphone a little bit here. Okay, I think that's better. So, hey y'all. Hope you guys have had an amazing week. I think it's been about a week since I uploaded episode 8. Thank you all who tuned in and listened and reached out and sent your condolences. I appreciate you. I know I keep saying that, but I appreciate you so much. I laid my husband to rest yesterday. So, whenever you're listening to this, yesterday, Monday, October 17th. So, and it was a beautiful service, a beautiful homegoing. And yeah, so thank you again for everyone who reached out. So before we get into today's episode, I need a few key things. First thing, I need y'all to follow me on Instagram at motherhood_is_ghetto. I need y'all to. I need you. Because on some of these topics, I would love to keep the conversation going. And because I don't, have YouTube or anything for this particular podcast, where I don't have like a place like you really leave comments, I don't think. But I would love to keep the conversations going over there on Instagram. But if there is a need for me to create a community on YouTube, of course I will do that. But in the meantime, follow me on Instagram at motherhood_is_ghetto. So that's number one. Number two, y'all, I went to sleep last night without my bonnet on, so excuse the hair. I was just so tired last night when I laid down, and when I thought about it and I realized I didn't have my bonnet on, I was like, I ain't getting up out of this bed. So, this is me. This is this is what you get today if you're watching on Spotify. That was it. That was the two things that I had to go over before we get into our motherhood quote of the day. So, this quote that I have for you guys is, "There's no way to be a perfect mother and a million ways to be a good one." Bars. And that's pretty much the whole point and the essence of Motherhood is Ghetto. We are not perfect. And anyone that's out here trying to be a perfect mother, it's just do the best you can. Do what's good. Cause in your kids' eyes, they see perfection in a different way than we see it. So just do what you can and be there for your kids, girl. Don't be trying to be perfect. Do what's best for them. So, that is the quote of the day. That quote has nothing to do with today's episode. Nothing. So, we're going to jump right into it. So, I was on Instagram the other day and I came across a Twitter feed. So I don't have Twitter, but I follow this celebrity news and trending topics Instagram page, and sometimes they post people's Twitter threads in screenshot or whatever. But I came across this one and it was really interesting. So I'm going to read you guys the thread and then we're going to discuss this because I have some opinions about this. So, all right. So this person says, "Sorry, but if my kid is getting bullied for some physical trait I can easily change, I'm going to change it. Not having my daughter coming home crying every day because of a unibrow and telling her to just love herself when a wax strip would solve all her problems." And then she goes on to say, she gonna come to her kindergarten class with a PowerPoint on why conforming to Eurocentric beauty standards is problematic. They are children. LMAO. And furthermore, she says, y'all be getting your kids braces when you could teach them to love their crooked teeth. Putting them on Accutane when you could teach them to love their blemishes. Getting them contacts instead of glasses, etc. but you draw the line at waxing their brows. Interesting. So I'm assuming she probably got some backlash about saying she would get her kid a wax. So let's be real. Kids are at school 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. As a parent, you can tell them to love themselves till you're blue in the face, but your voice is nothing against their peers tormenting them 40 hours a week. I personally would intervene. You can let yours suffer if you want. So that was the Twitter thread. And I found it interesting because I had to ask myself, like, what would I do? So I want to ask y'all the same thing. What would you do if your child came home, was being teased or bullied by an attribute or something about their physical appearance that can be easily changed? So in this case, if the kid has a unibrow and everyone's calling him unibrow or I'll be sure. Today's kids don't know I'll be sure, but and if it's something that's easily fixable for them, would you fix it? Would you continue to, instill in them that they should love themselves and just ignore the haters and all that stuff and use that as like a strength? And when I was thinking about this, I was like, what would I do if this was my child? And I know for me, like, 2 of my kids right now need braces. And I've been telling them, like, I'm going to take y'all to get some braces. Because me personally, this is my take. Being an adult, I understand the importance of one's appearance and how that people judge you, like, period. Like, people judge you no matter who you are, your skin color, and they're judging you based off your appearance because they don't know you, right? So for me being an adult, I understand how someone looks can play a part in a lot. Like, it can determine if you get a job or not, or how people serve you, or like if you go to a restaurant or something, or if people even want to deal with you. So for me, I do think that making your appearance, because making your appearance a priority is important. And that's what I was raised on. It's like when you go out in public, you try to look your best, don't go around looking like what you've been through, like all that stuff. So as an adult, I understand that. And I feel like as an adult, and I don't know if this person's a mother or not, I don't know if they're just speaking, in general, what they would do if they were, a parent. But for me as an adult, I know how important, one's physical, outer appearance is. Now for kids though, I mean, like I was starting to say, like 2 of my kids need braces and I plan to get them braces. Only because like I want my kids to look their best, and for me, like, even with me personally, like I have this gap and gaps are hereditary in my family. However, I didn't get my gap until my adult life, like my later 20s. So I didn't grow up with a gap. So when my look started to change, I was like, I don't like this. And, and especially being a business owner and someone who is the face of their brand, I know that stuff like that is important, especially I'm the face of my brand. So I've always considered getting braces. The only reason why I never got braces was because my husband loved my gap and he told me that was beautiful. And so, that's the only reason why I never got the braces, because he thought I was beautiful. So that was ultimately all I needed to be like, well, I'm not finna waste no money on no braces. But at the same time, I feel like my kids are beautiful too, but I will get them braces because I think, like, we all know, like, dental hygiene is important, all that stuff. And I don't want them to have any problems down the line, like, dental-wise, and, have pains and stuff from, like, teeth being out of order and out of whack and stuff like that. But now if we're talking about something like, so say maybe like your kid has super hairy arms, like really hairy arms, like they get teased about how hairy their arms are. And I'm using that as an example because there was a kid in my elementary school who got teased for that. And so, like, as a parent, like, would you, shave their arms every week for them or get them waxed? Like, something that's easily changeable. Would you change it? And I think for me, if it was a case like that, or they had a unibrow, or maybe like they had the way that their hair was, like people teased them, and it was something I could easily change myself. I feel like I would not if it was a part of who they are. I feel like I wouldn't. Being extra hairy, like if like that's your genetic. Having a unibrow, like that's probably your genetic too. And I don't think I would change that. Now with the teeth thing, I know for my kids, like my kids have had had a very tumultuous love affair with candy ever since they were very small, because their dad used to, as soon as they could eat a sucker, like my husband was giving it to them, and that was like their whole bonding thing. Like daddy's gonna go to the store and get you some candy. So my kids have had a crazy love affair with candy, and it's taken a toll on their teeth. And with my daughter had a binky for a long time, which was hindering the growth of her teeth. Like until we finally took her off of it cold turkey, then her teeth started to grow like they were supposed. So I know like my kids have dental issues, so I'm going to correct that, because that was not something that's hereditary. Like me and their dad both genetically have great teeth. So, and I've been told that, like my whole childhood, I never went to the dentist. My parents never took us to the dentist. Sorry, mom, dad, I'm out in y'all's parenting right now. But in my adult life, I went to the dentist, and when I got my teeth checked, I only had 2 cavities. And he's like, "You never been to the dentist before?" I was like, "No, this is my first time." And he's like, "Wow, like you have like genetically you have great teeth. Like your teeth are great. Like there's nothing wrong with your teeth." And he's like, "You never had any wisdom teeth?" I'm like, "No, I just told you it's my first time here." And he's like, "They don't bother you?" I'm like, "No, they don't bother me at all. Like the only thing that's really bothering me is this gap." Like that was really like the only reason why I went, like to get my little annuals, because I was paying for dental at work and not using it every year. So it's like I might as well start using it for at least the annual stuff. But that, like, because I know that was like, self-inflicted, like poor dental hygiene health, I'm going to get that corrected for my kids. But I feel like if it's, like if someone was making fun of my kids because of their hair, calling them nappy head or something like that, hell no, I'm not changing their hair. That's a part of who they are. Like, that's them. I'm not giving my daughter a perm if she comes home talking about they were calling her buckwheat or something like that. Like, I wouldn't do that. No, because that's a part of her. And, yeah, I wouldn't. And even with my sons, like, I wouldn't do that either. Unless, like, it was, my son came to me and said, can I try a new haircut? Like Solomon, when he wanted his hair locked, he came to me and asked, he said, I want locks in my hair. So I put him in, and he felt like a whole brand new person, but it wasn't, based off of anyone teasing him or anything. That's just what he wanted. So if it's something like that, like, my boys want to try a new haircut, my baby girl wants to try a new hairstyle, like, of course, like, we can do that, but we're not changing or altering the base, the base makeup of who you are. Like, we're not doing that. But if you are a mother who feels like you would, like, hey, that's your prerogative. Like, do what you feel you need to do for your children and their well-being. I'm not hating on that at all. Like, do you? I'm just saying, for me as a mother, like, I wouldn't, if it's a part of them and it's part of their genetic makeup, I'm not changing it. Um, I'm not changing it or altering it or anything like that. But I thought that that was interesting. And I respect her opinion for sure. And like I said, like, to each their own. And if that's making her daughter, if she's speaking on her own situation, if that's making her daughter feel confident and, going to school and stuff like that, like, great, like that, kudos for her. And then, I also was thinking about, I remember when, y'all remember when Cardi B, like, was getting real popular and stuff, and like she had those really jacked up teeth on Love and Hip Hop, like her teeth were kind of messed up, and people would always make fun of her about it and pick on her about it. So then she finally fixed her teeth, right? She got a bag, fixed her teeth and all that stuff, but people still had stuff to say. Like, and she was like, I fixed my teeth and y'all find something else like to pick out and bully me about. And that's kind of how I feel about this situation. Even if, my son came home crying because someone told him he had, like, was teasing about his hairy arms or something like that. And I did go take him for a wax. They'll find something else. Kids can be mean. They can be very mean. And if they're set out, if a child is set out to bully you, and to make you feel lower than the low, they're going to find any way to do that. They're going to. And I think that's why it's important. It is important for you to tell your kids to love yourself and to let them know that there's only one of them, like they're unique in their special way, and give them that confidence. That's why we got to do it as mothers, because if there are people out there that will, just for the hell of it, for the sake of it, try to ruin our kids' day for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter what they do. Like, it doesn't matter what changes they make or try to correct what they're being bullied about. They're going to find the kid, if they're that animate about bullying this kid or my kid, like any kid, like they're going to find something. So I think, it's best to continue to teach them to love themselves, ignore the haters, like all that stuff, because they're going to find shit to talk about anyway. And we even know that as adults. Like, somebody hating on us, like we do something, like we can even be doing the greatest good, and somebody will find some problem with it. They're going to have something to say. So it's nothing you can do at the end of the day, but just have that confidence in yourself and love yourself. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what's most important. So I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this. So when I post a clip on Instagram of this episode and you go and listen to the whole episode, come back to the Instagram page at motherhood_is_ghetto and let me know what you would do. Let me know. Because I thought this was interesting to talk about, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I'm going to go ahead and land the plane here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I appreciate you all. And until next time, mamas.